Bonjour et bienvenue au podcast de Late Challenge. Je m'appelle Maurice Stewart et il s'appelle Gareth Roberts. Yeah, I'm not going to do that the whole show, don't worry. Welcome to the Late Challenge podcast. I have just come back from France. I'm feeling a bit giddy. I'm feeling very refreshed and happy. And you lot are going to be the beneficiaries of it. Well, you as well, I think. That's fair to say. I'm in a good mood.
Good. So it wasn't mad then, no?
No, it was not mad. No, it was awesome. So Lindsay's brother lives in France, in Lille, to be precise. And we went out there for a little weekend break. And I really enjoyed it. Like, if you've not been to Lille, it's a beautiful, it's a city. It's got a cathedral and everything, but it's also a bit like a little town. So you've got lots of old buildings, lots of winding streets and stuff, lots of little cafes and bars and coffee shops and stuff. And every single pub's got a dartboard. Every single one. That was the one, it's not my one takeaway. They love cheese.
Did you watch the tally?
No.
You didn't regard la television?
No.
What about footy? Did you go football?
No, so this was the thing, right? In my mind, I was very much like, I'm taking a break, like, because Lindsay basically has to play second fiddle to the football schedule as it is. So I thought it would be only fair to do a completely footballless weekend. And I managed it, although we did go in one pub and they had handball on. And I was a bit like, I'm not sure about this gear.
Nah.
But no, it was good fun. Did a lot of walking, some shopping, a lot of eating, a lot of drinking. Really good fun. I recommend everybody, the next time the international break comes up and you're like, I can't be asked for this, just go away somewhere. However you can, whether it goes just a few meters, a few miles, or a different country. Just get out. Do you good.
Excellent. Excellent. No, sounds good, mate.
Yeah. Also, almost forgot, I brought you back something.
Yes, here we go.
Well, it's not a surprise because, like, the dog ears that you have, the moment you heard the rustle in my bag, you knew exactly.
I was like, he's got crisps. He's got crisps.
So, if you remember, the last few crisps we did were Brett's crisps.
Yeah, indeed. They were good then, weren't they?
They were good. So I was in the shop and they had literally about 15 different flavors. So I got carbonara. I got yakitori, which is basically Chinese chicken and lime.
Shame that it includes the word Tory, isn't it?
You know, it's funny because Lisa said, he's going to call them Tory crisps. So I'm like, no. But no, she's right. She knows you better than I do.
Yeah.
And then these ones are it's just kind of a stew which is native to Lille. So carbonara flammada, but it's basically like a beef stew.
Oh.
So we've got
tea sorted.
Yeah. We've got these to work our way through at some point in the future. Probably not going to do them right now, but yeah, you'll find out exactly how all of these fare over the coming weeks.
Loving that. Nice one, that.
Now, you've got a fair bit of admin that you wanted to get and let the people know about, haven't you?
Yeah, a few things to mention. First of all, I'm a very basic person. You all know that. So if you send me something nice, I will do a little mention for you. And someone sent me something very nice, which is this T-shirt here. For those who are watching on the video, yeah, you can see it there, I think. If you're doing it as a podcast, soz. But basically, the T-shirt is from, let me get this right, Manifestive CIC. Now, they do a lot of work with local youths. And they got in touch to just saying, like, could you give a shout out to something we're doing at the moment? So this T-shirt that I'm wearing is actually from one of their older programs when they were doing something with Cara's Foundation. But very nice, I think.
Yeah.
Made up for it. I'm going to wear it on my walks. What they're doing now is something that is funded by the lottery, and it's for 16 to 25-year-olds, 5 till 6 p.m. every Monday. So you probably have to watch the Late Challenge later on if it applies to you. But 5 till 6 every Monday for the next 5 weeks at the Chafers, I'm going to say, Rimrose Valley, Waterloo, right by me, basically. Free to join, your travel's covered if needed, and basically you get to work with a boss running coach. It says here, best in the city, Alex Rigby. South End sessions are coming soon as well. If that's something that tickles your fancy, and you don't have to have run, by the way, before, it's all sort of open ability. It's just about getting young people in the city, in and around the city, involved in something where you can socialise, something where you can improve your fitness, and it's free, and you're getting to work with a literal expert as well. So yeah, check that out if you're interested in that. The website is manifestifcic.co.uk. If you go onto their website, there's a QR code that you can scan for more information there. Sign up, get involved. They asked me to give them a shout. I was happy to do so. Did also tweet it the other day as well, and they said, well, thank you very much, we'll send you a nice t-shirt to say thank you, and there it is.
You're a decent little clothes horse, you, aren't you?
Yeah. So thanks very much for that. And I've got something else I'm going to give a shout out to next week, because I'd already promised this, so I felt it was a bit much to do two in one day. It might have meant I had to strip, but something gorgeous, beautiful to give a shout out to next week, but I'll do that next week. And then the other thing just to say as well is, you may have noticed, seen me tweeting, etc., about something I did with Edge Hill University, which is a podcast about mental health called What's in Your Head. Myself and Chris Kirkland co-host it, and we had a series of guests into the university to talk about mental health, to talk about what's in their head, to talk about how they cope, to talk about their experiences and all that kind of stuff. The first introductory one went out the other week, and the second one is now out there, and the second one was with Tony Bellew and his wife Rachel, and very interesting it was too. They talked about Tony's journey, about suffering grief, how they got the other side of that, how they've coped, the challenges and all the rest of it, and just really good to get someone like Tony in the room talking about some of that stuff, because he is a hero to many, obviously, rightly so, a world champion and all the rest of it, but it sort of underlines that point that no matter who you are, where you're from, what you do, there will be times in life that are challenging.
Absolutely.
There will be times in life that get you down. There will be times where, the mental weather is grey. And so, let's normalise all of that, because it is normal. It is something we all go through. And if you're feeling a bit down and out and what have you, well, even a world championship boxer has gone through stuff like that.
He's always been a straight talker, Tony, as well, isn't he? So,
I mean, I really liked him. I've never met him in person before, but he was absolutely sound. But I have to say, there was definitely like a thing where I was looking at him thinking, shit, you're hard, aren't you? I would not want to dig off you.
Yeah. Just hope he's not listening to any of your previous podcasts about Everton and Ubisoft.
I know, yeah. But no, he was absolutely sound, and fair play for him. For taking the time out to come and do that podcast. You can get I believe they are working on getting it on sort of Apple Podcasts and things like that, but right now you can definitely get it on Spotify, and you can definitely get it on YouTube, on Edge Hill University's YouTube channel. So if you fancy having a go with that, give it a go. Let us know what you thought. Let Chris Kirkland know what you thought as well. Him and his wife were on that, Leona, both brilliant as well. So yeah, good stuff, and stuff to go and check out if that's something that tickles your fancy.
Fantastic. All good stuff. And we like to be the hub of all good information for all of you out there. So I'm looking forward to what he's come up with next week, even though I'm a little bit concerned about the idea of him stripping. But
no stripping. That's why I didn't do it this week.
Thank God for that. Okay, so I know that the majority of you out there have the same idea of this fella when it comes to international football, i.e. you can't be arsed with it. You'd rather not talk about it. And so we won't. But it's true that there have been some Liverpool players kicking balls over the last week or so, and we're all interested in them. So we're going to talk a little bit about them. Some of them who've been having a good time, some of them who've been having a less good time. Some of them who are going to come back to Liverpool bouncing like I am. Some of whom are maybe going to need an arm around the shoulder. And we're going to basically look into some of the things that's been going on. There's also been a lot of talk about injuries, particularly with centre-halves. We're going to look into what Slot might do to fix what's probably his first real problem in that area. But we're going to start with the good news and the people who are feeling good. And top of the shop, this fella here, Mr. Mo Salah, who has officially qualified for the World Cup in 2026. He was the man who shakes Djibouti. I'm going to keep doing that joke until Djibouti is no longer a country, I promise you. He scored 2 goals. They won 3-0. Egypt qualified for the World Cup. He did so well that the coach gave him a break from the second game, so he didn't play his second game at all against Guinea-Bissau, so he's played 1 game, and he's going to come back, revitalised, scoring goals.
See his goal?
Yeah.
The chip, the lob, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Looked like the Mo Salah of old. I mean, bit of a mad. I mean, I've no idea of the quality of the opposition, and I've no idea why there was loads of empty seats. But nevertheless, looked like a Mo Salah finish to me.
Yes,
warming up nicely for his favourite opponent, Manchester United.
Exactly. But I think when you consider that Egypt didn't qualify for the last World Cup, and I mean, he'll have to hopefully not be listening to this. But he might not get another chance to qualify for World Cup because it'll be 36 the next time it comes around. He may not necessarily be there. Egypt might not necessarily be good enough to qualify. So it's nice that he gets at least one more crack at the big dance, I think, for me. But we had lots of Ismo finished hot takes over the last few weeks. So, I mean, he seems to be the kind of person who feels a little bit bulletproof when it comes to that kind of chatter. But he would still like to be able to say, no, look at me, scoring goals, getting to the World Cup. You'll see me, don't worry.
I mean, first and foremost, in the most basic of terms, one of our star players enjoying himself is a very good thing. And, qualifying for the World Cup, scoring a good goal, he scored 2, didn't he? But that was the standout one, I think is fantastic. And look, I just think it's ridiculous that, he's sort of being written off, really. I know he hasn't been in the best of form. I've been at the games, we can all see it. But equally, let's just, give him a little bit of a break here. And Fitzy, who's a long-time supporter of the Lake Challenge, he sent us a tweet the other day just saying, hey, fellas, in the Sunday Mirror, Andy Dunn has written a good article on Salah and come out with a great line. Have a read. So I went and had a read to see what he was referring to. And I'm presuming he's meaning this line, where he says, suddenly it's hard to avoid Wayne Rooney's take on matters. And this was talking about criticising Salah's work rate.
Yes, I saw that.
And he says, but that's like having a pop at Picasso for not painting the garden fence regularly enough. And, he goes on to say, Andy, in that piece that, he's not known and never has been known for doing that work. There's been times he has done that work, but by and large, we're used to him creating and scoring goals. And I just thought, do we just need a little reminder here that he's been at Liverpool, he's into his 9th season at Liverpool, and last season was his 2nd best at Liverpool for goals. So the best ever was 44 first season. Last season he got 34, and every season he's done something. So it's 34, 25, 30, 31, 31, 23, 27, and 44 in that first season. So the idea now that he's not going to get back to putting it in the back of the net, I just think it's a little bit early for all of that.
That's before you even get into the assists as well, which have kind of increased a lot over the last 2 or 3 years. The thing I think about all this, though, and particularly the whole work rate point, is that do we think if he suddenly starts chasing back, running hard, putting in more effort and energy into that side, that he's going to start scoring more goals? Or do we think he's more likely to score less goals because he's goosed? Do you think that maybe there was a reason they told him not to do all that stuff in the first place?
Indeed. It's almost, like I'm sure Arne Slot and the coaches can see exactly what everyone else can see, and none of it's going to come as a surprise to them. Just wanted to mention as well, I know we are coming on later to talk about United, but we are here talking about Mo right now in this section. Just honestly, let's get excited about Mo against Man United. Yes. Because it's 16 goals in 17 games against Manchester United. He is man kryptonite. 13 of those in the Premier League, 6 assists. More goal involvements against Manchester United than any other player in Premier League history. So only 5 players ever have got 20 plus goal involvements in the history of the Premier League, 33 years. So that's Les Ferdinand, 20, against Everton. Alan Shearer, 21, against Everton. Frank Lampard, 21, against Bolton. And Harry Kane, 22, v Leicester. And Wayne Rooney, 23, against Newcastle. So the point being, these players having this thing of always doing well against a particular club isn't actually that often.
No.
And Mo, for whatever reason, seems to find form, finesse, goals, assists, whatever it might be, when he plays Manchester United.
In the one game.
And next up, Manchester United.
Well, maybe aside from Everton, the one game where you'd want him to. the one game where you want him to stand up and show up. And yeah, it's a remarkable record because I remember he didn't start off. I think it was 3 or 4. His first 3 or 4 games against United, he didn't score, and a little narrative was developing of like, oh mate, he's not doing it in the big games. Suddenly he was like, hang on a minute, and yeah, since then he's just gone gold crazy. But like, it's not even just the fact that he scores against them; it's that now it is inevitable. It's inevitable.
There's something about like there's definitely a thing for him because it's not just those figures. Like I remember, one of the greatest days of my life. Watching Liverpool undress Manchester United at Old Trafford 5-0. And not only was it great to see that and to see all the fans leaving and just to completely batter them on their own turf after all the misery that we'd suffered there over the years, but when we took our foot off the pedal, when we started looking at it saying, do you know what, they're just going to start ploughing into our players and it's not worth it, we'll just take a little bit of the sting out of it. He was fuming.
Yes, he was.
He was absolutely kicking off at his teammates saying, we carry on, we keep going, what are you doing? Like, Mo wanted 8, 9, 10, whatever, whatever he could get that day. And I love seeing that.
Yeah, he got his 7 a couple of years later, though, didn't he? So I'm sure he was very happy with that. He probably would have wanted an 8. But yeah, he's got something in his something special in his chamber whenever he sees Manchester United. So yeah, I mean, we are going to talk more about Man United over the course of the rest of this show. But yeah, I have absolutely no problem with that little diversion. Just a little taster.
Yeah, a little nice one.
Okay, so the next person who had a good time over international break, although probably tinged with a little bit of sadness, Conor Bradley. He played against Slovakia, and I think I saw 4 different players say that he was the best player on the pitch.
He was.
By a long way. He was. The thing I love most about his game, it wasn't just the fact that he was beating players, that he was throwing tackles in. It was that he believed he was the best player on that pitch. Yeah. And you could sense it in everything he did. He was proactive. He was on the front foot. He was getting in their faces. And for someone who also, a bit like Salah, would have had maybe a reason or an understandable reason to have maybe a bit of a crisis of confidence, it was exactly what I think he needed.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I was just like sitting around in my gaff and I didn't know that it was on BBC Two. And I just turned BBC Two on and there it was. And so I thought, I'll watch this. And it was enjoyable. It was good. And he was just like, he was on one. Yeah. He knew that he was like, their talisman. And he knew that he was, I can influence this game. I can win it for us. And yeah, he was absolutely everywhere. I thought he was slightly unfortunate in the booking that he picked up, which means he misses the Germany game, which is it tonight?
Tonight, yeah.
But he was very, very good. And first and foremost, we see him as a right back, but he was absolutely charging forward, getting in the box, trying to score, trying to set up, do pirouetting in the box and all kinds of stuff. And he was fantastic. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I always think, I've seen some people talk about, do we need to have a bit of a word with him? Do we need to get him to calm down a little bit? He's picking up unnecessary yellows and all that kind of stuff. I get it. But then I also think you're walking a very fine line with stuff like that. If you think about, say, like Rooney as an example, Ferguson used to talk about like you didn't want to take the devil out of him.
No.
And so there's almost like if you talk him down too much, you're taking something away from his game because, it's great to see an aggressive player and he's got to stay on the right line, obviously. And he's obviously trying to. And like I say, he just sort of ran into the fella for the booking. And I thought it was a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, he was very influential and very exciting. Obviously can give it the it's only etc about the opposition, but he was great. He was fantastic, and I thought, yeah, play like that for us, lad.
Absolutely,
fantastic.
I was really sad for him around the booking because one, it robs him the chance of playing against Germany, against a really fantastic team, probably in the same side of the pitch as Florian Wirtz as well.
Maybe that's a good thing.
yeah. Florian's not going to have to wear his massive shin pads this week. But yeah, about the booking, it's weird because I'm like you. I've seen lots of people talk about how it's a thing he's going to have to curb, and I kind of get it too. I think the problem for me isn't so much him, it's refs, because as you said, it was one that he didn't need to give, and there's been a few of those. Some of them have been obvious yellows, but some of them have been 50-50, and he's not getting the benefit of the doubt. And I worry that already he's become have a reputation with refs where he's not going to get any benefit of the doubt, any 50-51, and he's gone. And you think, is there a way of kind of, once that starts to build, is there a way of turning the tide on it? Because I know there's loads of players who always get the benefit of the doubt on 50-50s. Refs are always willing to kind of maybe look the other way when they do something you think, oh, maybe that's a bit dodgy. Obviously, James Milner being the greatest example of this, but I think Virgil's got a bit of this as well. Like, some players are just better at getting away with it.
There's almost like a demeanour thing about it, isn't there? I think in that, you know, if you think about Virgil, like, he seems sound, and like, you know, when you see him with the referee, obviously he gets to speak to the referees, and he seems to be most part calm with them. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I think about Bradley when he's talking to officials, I can almost see the two fingers in the scowled face. Do you know what I mean? And it's a bit like, you know, I listened to that Gerrard podcast. I broke my rule of not listening to Rio Ferdinand. Thankfully, Rio Ferdinand didn't speak very much.
He wasn't in it much.
So yeah, I went on a walk and did the whole Gerrard podcast in one go. And, you know, there's a bit in it where he said, you know, if I was playing now, I probably wouldn't be on the pitch very much. And so there is a thing of, you know, you've got to strike the balance, you've got to manage it, you've got to understand the situations. And perhaps that is something where they'll talk it through with them and just say, you know, in this moment, in that moment, you know, don't give the referee the opportunity. You know, just keep your demeanour calmer looking, do you know what I mean? And that kind of thing, because he is aggressive, he is front foot, that is the way he plays, and that's what's got him the deal at Liverpool, and it's got him into the first team. But are there just little things where it won't take something away from his game, but it might just mean he doesn't get in the book as much? Yeah,
and I mean, who knows? Becoming the captain might help. Maybe he gets to speak to refs more often, and they get to know him and understand him. Maybe he can build a bit of a rapport, so maybe they are more willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I mentioned Virgil. I think Robbo's another really good example, because he's always been that aggressiveness in his tackle.
Plays like that, yeah.
And he's never really got into that same situation. So hopefully there's enough people in the dressing room who can just have a word with him, just like, okay, here's the secret to being able to still be aggressive without picking up loads of yellows. I just want to give another shout out to someone else who had a good time, Georgie Mamadashvili. So Georgia lost against Spain. Couldn't really do much about 2 goals, I don't think. And yes, he did give away a penalty, but then he saved it.
Yeah.
And I must admit, considering, I still think it's unfair to say that penalties is Alisson's Achilles heel, but he doesn't save a lot of them. Whereas we did have that in Kelleher. Kelleher had the magic.
He saves them from everyone.
Yeah, he does.
All the top players in the world, seemingly.
Yeah, particularly if you're Portuguese.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have another keeper in the locker in the building.
I thought it was quite funny, by the way, that you know, good save and all the rest of it, and obviously he scored it back when, you know, he's give the penalty away in the first place. But I thought it was funny, like, you could see. It looked to me that he wanted that moment, you know, where like all the defenders start high-fiving him and they all just jibbed him off. And he was just there, sort of like, yes, like looking around, like, can someone come and high-five me or hug me and say nice one for saving it? And they all just were cracking on with the game, and he was sort of like, all right then, boys, well, yeah, sound. But no, obviously a good thing that you see a goalkeeper saving penalties, and hopefully will be, you know, I mean, stepping in Alisson's footsteps is incredibly difficult because he's so good.
Yeah.
But if there are a little bit of bits of his games that, you know, like that, like he's a penalty saver maybe. And again, you know, you'd only think it's going to get better with him in terms of, we were saying last week, weren't we, about, like, for the start off, them giving him the ball on the right foot that he wants it on would be good. But I think he's done all right in what we're seeing him against Chelsea, and this should hopefully only add to that as well. So yeah, fingers crossed that he can do a good job for us at the weekend. Yeah, indeed. Shout out to Virgil and Cody for bagging against Finland as well. There was worry about Gravenberch when he came off. Yeah, it was a good goal, really good goal. There was worry about Gravenberch when he came off at half-time, and Koeman said it was a little hamstringy niggle thing, which is obviously not what you want to hear. But
all reports I've seen since seem to believe it was just a precaution and he will be okay for the weekend, which is good news.
He said it himself, didn't he? He said it was a precaution. He said, I'm feeling good. I've got the coach's confidence. It was partly fitness related. It doesn't sound like, it's going to be anything that's going to keep him out of the game. But I'm sure Liverpool will just sort of make sure no one actually knows between now and when the team's announced, which is how it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's as I say, probably put a shiver down everyone's spine because it's what you don't want. So for those who weren't so happy, Isak. Well, okay, you look at it one way. Isak played 90 minutes for Sweden, which Liverpool fans would be quite happy to say. Yeah, he got 90 minutes in his belt. Hopefully, he'll be back to get to where we want him to be fitness wise very soon.
He's getting another 90 as well, isn't he? The coach has already said he's playing in the next one as well.
Which is, I think, probably, again, where he's at.
390s in 10 days.
Will be good to see how he reacts to it because I think he's still going to have 5 days before Sunday. So in the world where maybe you think he's a bit tired, maybe he goes on the bench for this one, Hugo starts, but then he's still available for maybe a 35 at least off the bench, and then you go from there. But he got quite a lot of criticism, particularly in Sweden, for his performance because Sweden, in a must-win game against Switzerland, got beat. And are currently bottom of their group, 8 points adrift of Switzerland, looking bleak for their chances to qualify for the World Cup. He had one shot in the whole game, but it hit the post. Possibly people think he could have done better, but then he laid one absolutely on a plate for Bergvall, who absolutely just, scuffed it up. So he's getting a lot of criticism. There's lots of people who are now saying, oh, well, this is the chickens coming home to roost from all of the bullshit he was doing over the summer. And it's all just a bit short term, isn't it? Still, I think the reality is that he knew that because of how that all went down, it was going to take a while. But whereas Sweden probably didn't have enough time to wait, I think Liverpool do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just ridiculous short-termism, as you say. I mean, what 7 games into the season and all these mad stories, running around left, right and centre about, he's not good enough, he's this, Wirtz is that, he's that. It's like, just chill the fuck out. Do you know what I mean? Like, just jib it, honestly. Like, it's like, we haven't fucked the season up. We're in all the competitions we want to be in. We're a point off the top. Man United next at home. Like, just chill the fuck out with all of it, honestly. There's no need, everyone, to always take the worst possible line and run with it as though it's all fuck, because it's quite clearly not. No. And it's embarrassing and insulting to people's intelligence to suggest otherwise. Yeah, it really is. It's like, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, he's going to flop here and then he'll go back to Germany and he'll do well there. All right, yeah, you mank bastard, Sam. Let's see. I mean, it's just, it's like I say, it's just incredibly boring, really, and tiring. And you're just like, come on. Do you know what I mean? Some players, guess what, take time to settle. But we'll be all right. I mean, I watch one of those weird videos set to weird music where you see all the players' touches in a game thing. I watched the Ekitike one. And I thought, he's great, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just a good footy player. Like, he drops deep, he gets involved, he seems to connect with players. He can obviously score, he can create. And I just thought, I like watching him.
Yeah.
It's good, him. And he's ours, and he's in our team. And he's only one of a whole array of attacking threats that we've got. We'll be all right, lads.
And if he starts on Sunday, we'll be rubbing our hands together saying, I can't wait to see him back against United. Now, speaking of people's heads falling off, another thing that always makes that happen is when you see the word Konate and injury in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Luckily, it sounds like, just like with Gravenberch, it's not as bad as first feared. He did pull out of the French squad without kicking a ball. The injury that saw him come off against Chelsea was the reason, a quad injury. But Liverpool, all reports, James Pearce and a few other people saying that Liverpool are hopeful that he will be fit for that game against Manchester United. However, we do need to look at the schedule coming up. That United game is the first of 7 games in exactly 3 weeks, which is a lot. And Yes, we hope that Konate will be fit, but as it stands of right now, the two fit centre-backs we've got is Virgil and Joe Gomez. Now, as I say, we like to think that Konate will add to that, but I still think that asking those three to handle all 7 games in 21 days feels a little bit dangerous, particularly when you consider in the history we've had with Joe, where we've occasionally tries to make him do too much and he hasn't been able to do it. So the question is, we're clearly going to need a number 4 centre back. Now, obviously, we haven't got Leone because he's injured for the whole season.
Yeah.
So who's it going to be? You're going to have a little competition called Who Wants to Be a Liverpool centre back? I'm not going to do the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music because we can't afford it, but just imagine you just heard it in the back. So there are 3 contenders. Contender number 1, Ryan Gravenberch, 23 years old, defensive midfielder. Games in which he's played centre-back, 8. Games in which he started as centre-back, 0. Minutes he's played as centre-back, 184. Contender number 2, Wataru Endo, age 32, also a midfielder. Games as a centre-back, 242. Liverpool games as centre-back, 3. Minutes for Liverpool as centre-back, 229. Contender number 3, Andrew Robertson, age 34. Normally a left-back. Games at centre-back, 2. Games for Liverpool at centre-back, 1. Minutes at centre-back, 64. So just listening to those numbers, you'd assume that there would be one standout candidate of those 3 to become the 4th centre-back, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not Endo. It's Gravenberch. Does that seem a little bit strange?
It's not ideal, is it? And it wasn't the plan, clearly, because the plan was to get Gay. And, you know, the Crystal Palace chairman's come out and sort of made a few comments about the fact that, you know, they've had a look at their, you know, it wasn't as cut and dry shock as people made out that it was, and that in fact from their end they were looking at it and were like, we've got Europe, we can do all right in the league, and perhaps the money isn't the game changer for them if they do all right.
Yes.
That people thought it was. So, you know, quite simply, if they decide to not sell last minute, there's nothing Liverpool can do about that. And, you know, you can do all the eggs in one basket thing, but we know Liverpool don't easily go to second on the list. They'd rather wait for the top man. So, and then Leone, like you say, is the real shame, because I thought he looked fantastic in that game. And, you know, for that, you know, absolute freak injury to happen, it's one of those things that happens in football, and it's not ideal. But now we've just got to crack on. I mean, you know, and you mentioned Endo there, you know, he's not getting picked in the international game because he's got a slight tweak as well. And you're like, Christ almighty, like, but I mean, I was looking at Gomez while you were talking, and just seeing, you know, like I think there's like an assumption that he definitely can't play a string of games, and that, you know, he's definitely sort of done and all this kind of stuff that I see in here quite a lot. But if we look back to last season, there was a little spell there where he played Tottenham. He started Tottenham away on the 22nd of December. He started Leicester City on Boxing Day, and he started against West Ham when we beat them 5-0 on the 29th. So 3 games in a week.
Yeah, but the West Ham game was when he got injured.
Yeah. but my point being, like, you know, we're saying as though it's like in the mists of time since he ever strung some games together. The same month as well, you know, he'd started against Manchester City, Newcastle, Girona, Fulham, Southampton, Tottenham. So, you know, and then we're on to the little run ahead. So he did have a run last December. Yeah. So, you know, like, it's not as long ago as people are saying that he was in the side. So I think, you know, I'm hoping, and I'm touching wood and all the rest of it, that I think by and large we've seen the benefits of it. One of the things Slot has brought with him is very good management of players injury-wise. So we're just going to have to touch all the wood in the world, aren't we? Because, ideally, Kanate, it's not something that's going to keep him out of lots and lots of games. Gravenberch sounds fine, as you said before, can definitely step into the back four and do a job. But then you have the problem that you miss him further forward. And there's no one like him who is, there's no one like him at the club, is there? Let's be honest. I mean, there's players that can job there. There's players that can do it, but they just don't do it to his standard. And, he's getting better and better. He's doing the thing now where he's got like these little trademark moves to get Liverpool onto an attack. And you don't see that from anyone else when they're playing. And we still got the situation with McAllister as well, where he's not fully fit and they're randomly going to play him in some friendly at 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, why? Why does he have to play some random friendly in America when he's not fully fit? Can't he just can't we say he's got a twisted sock, get him home and, get him into Nick for Liverpool?
That's what Chelsea did with Enzo Fernandez. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
So that's annoying. As you said last week, Curtis at least hasn't played any football, during this time and is fit and ready to go. So, there are options, him being prime one, you would suspect, to be fresh legs in midfield and then Gravenberch can drop back. Look, he can do it. He's got the height, the skill, the ability, the reading of the game and all the rest of it. It's just not ideal, is it? It just feels a real shame that we're saying it's going to be him stepping into the back four. But
I think the problem is as well is that if you look at the way we've played the League Cup games last season, because he was playing so often in Champions League, Premier League, he was always getting rested. So if we're saying that the League Cup game is probably the most likely one where we're going to need to use the fourth centre-back, rather than rest him, we're going to make him play centre-half. It just feels like, I understand why it feels like the best option, because obviously the way that Slot wants centre-half to play in terms of his passing ability, between the three of those options I mentioned, he's far and away the best at that.
As Ian mentions in the comments, you got Reece Williams there. He was on the bench.
He was. Bring him out of storage.
I know, yeah. It's a mad one if he ends up playing, isn't it?
I mean, if Reece Williams ends up playing against Crystal Palace, I think he can probably say to Liverpool on that arse about the Carabao Cup. And that sounds very harsh on Reece Williams.
I can remember sitting on said couch again watching football not so long back, and he was getting interviewed as a Morecambe player. And so for him to be appearing back on the Liverpool bench, it's just wild, isn't it? Football's mad at times.
Another one from the Wilderness, someone mentioned to me earlier today, Stefan Bajcetic, who's still knocking around. I'm not sure exactly what status he's at, but
he had an operation, was it May, I think? So I don't think he's still not back.
So who knows how they're going to do it. But looking at the fixtures, these 7 games in 3 weeks, you got Man United, Frankfurt away, Brentford away, Palace in the League Cup at home, Villa at home, Real Madrid at home, City away. You'd have to think it's only really Palace where you'd maybe think about getting a bit funky with it, because even if you say, well, Brentford aren't necessarily as strong as they've been previously, the one thing they are going to test you with is physicality and lots of aerial duels. So it's not really the kind of game I'd see, like, for example, an Endo at centre-half in. So I'm hoping that we've got enough to get through it. But anyone out there who's got a cloning machine, please let us know and throw Ryan in there, and maybe we can get 2 of him and solve this problem once and for all. Who knows? All right, so we've still got 20 minutes left of the show, so it's time to start talking about Manchester United, the fixture that inspires joy, hatred, nerves, anger, laughter, fear, any other emotion that you can think of across 90 minutes, and normally in the week building up to it as well. These are still the 2 most successful clubs in English football, even if you wouldn't necessarily know it to look at one of them. And I think you can probably fairly say there's been about 4 or 5 seasons in my lifetime where both of them have been good. There's always one who's kind of in a bit of a crisis, and the other one is normally around the top of the table. There have been times when they've both been rubbish, but for the most part, one of them has been pushing for the big trophies. And right now, it's us.
Yeah,
we are indeed the defending champions, and boy, are we going to look forward to reminding them
Absolutely. We should just sing it for the whole of the game, I think, because the amount of times they've come to our gaff and sung about themselves being champions and 20 times and all that kind of, I mean, I kept saying it, didn't I, being daft last year? We should just sing it back to them. 20 times, Liverpool Football Club. 20 times, I say. Because that's how I presume they sing it. That's how I presume the voice and the faces when they sing that song. But I pulled some stats today on this game because I want the ground to be buzzing for this one. And I think it will be. I think I've seen a lot of people saying, look, it wasn't being enjoyable, obviously, to lose 3 on the trot. But equally, like, we've had this little break. We come back from the break. It's Sunday, it's the big game, it's Man United, all the rest of it. It just feels like, let's all turn up and show them what we're about.
Yes.
In the stands, on the pitch, let's do it. And let's kick them while they're down. So, the stats I had a look at today, some of them, like, I feel like I've been hearing a story that they're doing a bit better, they're doing okay. And it's like, well, they still haven't won consecutive games. No. That lad still hasn't cut his hair. No. Now, get on some of these. So Liverpool have lost just one of their last 14 Premier League matches with Man United. That was 2-1 at Old Trafford in 2022. Man United in the Premier League are winless at Anfield in the last 9. Man United are winless in their last 8 Premier League away games since winning at Leicester in March. And the last time they went longer without a league win on the road was September 1989.
Wow.
That is wow, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a long ass time. And yeah, I'll throw a few more in there as well. Opta, our friends over at Opta, still have them most likely to finish 12th, which would be an improvement on last season. Just missing out on cracking the 50-point barrier. At the moment, they are 10th, 10 points from 7 games, 9 goals scored, 11 conceded. As you mentioned, yet to win away all season, having faced Fulham, Man City, Brentford, and Grimsby Town. Yeah. And it's funny because we talk about their form and how good they are or aren't. And I remember last season when they had lost 4 in a row and they were on the floor. And that allowed them almost to kind of just debase themselves and just think, look, we're just going to turn up here, play non-football, just kind of, try and Burnley our way through this game. And it almost worked. They almost won. They ended up getting a point and feeling very good about themselves. So I think them having had a couple of wins actually, I think, helps because I feel like when they are better, their chances of winning are worse compared to when they are rubbish. Then they just, like I say, they just don't believe they can win, so they don't try and win, and that just frustrates the hell out of me.
I mean, for all that I've just talked it up and sort of said that we should definitely be winning, and we should definitely be winning. I mean, if you think otherwise, go and put some money on it because you can get 4-1 on United and you can get 7-2 on a draw, which are wild figures for Manchester United coming to Anfield in my lifetime. But, in the last 5 years, the results are 1-6, drawn 4, lost 3. Obviously, we mentioned earlier, we've won 7-0 at Anfield in 2023, which is absolutely unheard of. 5-0 at Old Trafford in 2021. Beat them comfortably in the league last season, but obviously a few months before we lost to them somehow in the FA Cup. Went to that one and I still don't know how we lost that one. And you think about last season at Anfield, I can remember Neville describing how they played that day as a miracle. Yeah. And, for all that, we can talk ourselves up, and we should do, and we should get it, whatever, get your mate going and all the rest of it, get your mate going. If you all need a couple of pints, have a couple of pints, whatever. Let's make this a big one on an occasion and let's get into them. But equally, that they will do some of this themselves. Like, wouldn't it be great to go to Anfield, spoil the party? They've lost their athlete. You can also, you can imagine it from their perspective. And, last season, they'd come here, they scored first, Martinez, that one in off the bar. We equalised through Gakpo, beauty. Salah gets the pen after the lit, handles it. Ahmad equalises, and then a trademark Gary Neville groan when Maguire when Maguire balloons it over the bar with 25 seconds left. So, we dominated the game, and the XG from that one's like 2.87 for Liverpool, just over 1 for them. But they still had moments in the game, didn't they, unfortunately? And we only got a 2-2 draw out of it. That's not good enough this time.
No.
We've got to go and beat them. Go and stamp the authority. Go and show who we really are. Go and win the game. Sing 20 times or whatever we're doing. Champions all the way through. Rub it in that we're having a great time, and we have been for years, and we know you're not.
No. And I think last season, as I mentioned, they came a little bit more defence-minded. This time they spent, 200 odd million pounds on a new strike force. So I'm not sure whether they'll be able to justify being quite as defensively minded. So maybe that'll play into Liverpool's hands. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I think it's interesting as well, like let's say, been doing a bit of research this afternoon. And, the sort of the balance on how games have gone historically. I think it's always been heavily towards whoever's at home, isn't it? You look at, so like Liverpool, there's been 99 games at Anfield. Liverpool have won 48, 25 draws, 26 defeats. Away, we've only won there, funnily enough, 20 times. And we had a nightmare there for years. It was horrible. Like, so many times I went and I was like, desperate to see us win there. And it was like, it got to the players. You could see it got to the players. So let's get to their players. Let's use that obvious home advantage that has been a thing in these fixtures. They know how hard it is to come here. They know what it's like, and they know where they're at in the pecking order right now and where we are. Yeah. And all of that will be in their heads. So let's reinforce the message.
It's like I said to Gutman the other day, for all of the fears you might have of, bloody hell, just be like them to come and win, and worrying about what it would feel like if they won and having to listen to all of them cheering and all that kind of stuff. I just say it is very much the Spider situation. They are more scared of us than we are of them. And you need to remember that. They absolutely do not want to go to Anfield. Like, you listen to their versions of this, their fan media podcast, and like you say, there'll be a part of them, there'll be one person on there talking a good game, but if you turn the cameras off and you have a chat with them in the pub,
they don't want this.
They do not want this at all.
They don't want this now. They don't want it to come around now. And look, it's definitely grim to be them at the moment. There's no two ways about that. It's not just how they're playing. It's not just, the result or the lack of. It's how they run. It's Ratcliffe, it's the Glazers, it's like,
3 more years for Amarin.
I mean, that was mad, that wasn't it? It was just like, why create the story? You know what I mean? Like, just handle it in a little bit of a different way, because you just look daft, because everyone knows he hasn't got 3 years, and it's, he's a couple of more bad results away from going, probably. And what was I going to say? I mean, and sort of, the way they're treating their own fans right now as well, like the stuff sort of like displacing people who've, been in the seats since 70s, 80s and whatever, and then rebadging their seats as, 600 quid corporate seats or whatever. It's just incredibly grim. Yeah. And it's really pissed off a lot of their fans. So, I almost don't want to put the boot in on that, because that's just grim generally. Yeah. And I don't think any football club should be treating the fans like that. But my point is, they're just all a bit downhearted and glum and all the rest of it. And I think if Liverpool can turn up, be the best versions of themselves, they've got no chance. No. Let's put it as blunt as that. And if Liverpool can do that very quickly, I think in their end and on the pitch and the manager even, they'll shrink away. I mean, you're seeing it with Amarim, like cool looking fella and all the rest of it, rocks a decent Adidas trackie and all the rest of it, but like, Where was he disappearing to in that Grimsby game?
I don't know.
He may as well have dug himself an hole, mightn't he? Like, just there with his head in his hands, playing with, some magnetic board while it's all going wrong. And it's like, lads, you're the manager.
It's like, at least I can win this game.
Do you know what I mean? Get involved, get out there and pose yourself, like, look like you're pissed off. And he's just sort of like, oh shit, it's going wrong.
Yeah, it's not the kind of role model you want or need. And I just think long term he's not going to be the man for them, and it is just inevitable when he eventually goes. And if Liverpool can almost unseat another Man United manager, well, then more's the better. One last thing on this before we get on to something else. We had a question here from you guys. We asked you what your questions would be for this show. And Gray Murphy said, who's your most despised United player, past or present, and most admired or even liked? Now, liked is kind of a hard one because when they were actually playing for Manchester United, I don't think. Well, okay, so maybe there's one player who I could say that I actually quite liked and was desperate for him to leave Man United, so I could actually like him more, and that's Juan Mata, because even though he scored those 2 goals at Anfield that they all celebrate and sing about, I just thought he was just genuinely a sound fella, and I thought that when he played for Chelsea, I thought that when he did his campaign about a living wage. So yeah, he's generally the only one who I thought was all right. Who have I despised most? I don't think you'll be surprised to hear it's that Portuguese fella who unfortunately can't score past Kevin Kelleher. What about you?
I mean, I think historically the obvious hate figure was Gary Neville, because he just epitomised them. And you know, like he there was always that story of the fanzine interview he'd done way back when, where he talked about Scousers. I was at it when he ran the length of the pitch to come and celebrate in front of us. I can still hear the seats snapping now. You know, he epitomised mankness, didn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think he was a very, very, very obvious hate figure for us, and he loved it. He played up to it, didn't he? You know, there's an argument to say he still does, but and then in terms of like a liked figure, I mean, I've got to say, through doing the overlap, I really do like Paul Scholes.
Yeah, I think you were going to say that.
He's just a bit of me. I'd love to go for a pint with him. I think he'd be absolutely brilliant. He's just a dead like, for a multi-millionaire who's played Premier League football and all the rest of it and won what he's won, which is unbelievable. He's a very normal fella.
Yeah.
And I really like him. So, but I probably wouldn't have said that previously. It's more the fact that we've obviously done those shows. I did always hate, like, had a soft spot for, wish he played for us, Roy Keane.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that too. And you're right, yeah. He's the one who was just like, if he'd been in our shirt, I'd have loved him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Adored him.
And I felt, and perhaps he's never going to truly say it because it might spoil brand Keane a little bit, but I felt he had a soft spot for us. I don't know why. I remember reading an interview once with him, and he almost complimented us. He said something about Anfield, I seem to remember, and something about the fans. And I just thought, you like us.
He respects us.
Yeah, he respects us. That's it, yeah. And you know what I mean? I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know exactly what he said because it's way back in the mists of time. But yeah, if we're gonna say like, I definitely like him now.
Yeah,
I mean, like, I think he's.
Oh yeah. He's
fantastic entertainment now.
Definitely, we can detach him. I mean, he hates Man United almost as much as we do, so that probably helps.
Yeah, and all the stuff he does and all that, and the way he is on commentary and all that. There's that side of it, but like the fact that even fairly recently, he was offering to meet a fan in the car park. Like, it's just, the true him's never far away, is it? You know what I mean?
No, he's always still in there, definitely.
And I've got to say, I've said it before as well, the Gabriel, what's he called? Clark, the ITV fella. The Keane Vieira thing is one of the best bits of football content ever.
Absolutely.
If you haven't watched that, watch it.
Definitely.
It's superb.
Yeah. The whole thing, I think it is possibly my favourite of those style documentaries. I just think it's so well done.
Calm As You Like has thrown in $50 and says, "Have a few bags of crisps on me, lads."
Nice one.
Thank
we
you,
will
mate.
indeed. Thanks very much. I love that. Speaking of people donating, it's time for Robbo's rambling update. Now, the first thing I have to ask you, since you were so keen on telling us all last week, are you still top of the table?
Yes, as far as I'm aware. I've not heard anything different. I've raised over $2,000 now. So thanks again to everyone who's been throwing in. It's keeping me honest. It's keeping me keen. It's making me go out every single day, whether it's raining, windy, I'm hungover or whatever. I haven't actually done today's yet, which is not the plan. By now I should have done me 5k, but I'm still going to do it. I'm going to go home after this and do it because, like I say, I can't not do it now that you have all thrown in so generously for a great cause. If you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, I'm walking at least 5k every day to raise money for the campaign against living miserably. According to their stats, £12, every £12.20 is potentially a life-saving call. So it's for anyone feeling suicidal. It's for anyone affected by suicide. They do lots of great work, and yeah, I'm doing it. It's been good. It's been good to get out there. It's been good to have a routine. It's been good I think I need like a bit of a, someone to keep me honest and all that kind of stuff. Because in my own head, I fall out of things, and like, I need someone. Like the best shape I ever got in my life, I've said it before, was when I worked with a fella who just basically like was on my case.
Yeah.
Like he'd message me the night before, like, get your kit ready now, bring your bag. You know what I mean? All of that. And because I knew he'd be on my case, I did it. And I went for the gym 4 times a week or whatever. And guess what? I got into good nick. When it's up to me to do it, just up to me, it's...
Give him a call and just say, maybe can you start having a go at me again?
I know, maybe. But with this, the knowledge that, and I almost feel like I'm maybe boring people by every day I'm putting it on my Instagram to say I've done it. But that sort of like is my way of saying, look, I've done it. And like, if you're all sitting there and you've donated going, well, has he done it today? You can see I've done it today. It's keeping me on. And I'm throwing it on Strava and I'm throwing it on Instagram. And like I say, I might be boring people, but every day I've done this walk. But it's keeping me honest. It's making me do it. Like I say, there's no way I'm not doing it after this. I will go and do it. I'm feeling tired. I've got the remnants of a hangover, all of that. But I will go and do it.
You're not boring anyone. And we are all there watching, waiting for that little notification. See, you've done it. And the thing I've been liking about it as well is it's not just a map or just a picture. You're showing us where you're going. And so I noticed that you've gone a little bit further afield this weekend. Have you found that maybe when you do get to do that, it's kind of helped a little bit if you are feeling a little bit like, so it's not the same place you're going again?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I've done every walk but one. So I mean, what are we on? It's the 13th today, so I've done 12 walks so far, with today's to come, and all of them but one have been on my own. I did Saturday with my mate Craig, and we walked from Crosby to Ainsdale. And we walked, and instead of going on the beach, we went through like the forest in Formby and across the golf course and all of that, if people know the way. And that was great. It was something different. It was good. Great to have the company. A really good way to catch up with your mates as well. I mean, getting your mates to do it was maybe a different thing, as I find with our Height and Ramblers group and all the letdowns this week. Yeah, lads, I'm on it.
Calling you out.
You know what I mean? Come on. But honestly, like, we've almost grown up, haven't we? And the way you catch up with your mates is go for a bevy. The way you might, go for a bevy, and everything's about going for a bevy. Going for a walk's a boss way to catch up. And do you know what? Like that was nearly a 10-mile walk. From Crosby up to Ainsdale. Didn't even notice it because you're talking, you're catching up, and blah blah blah, and you're walking through a nice forest field, whatever it might be. You just don't even notice it. There's no like, I am walking 10 miles. It's just gone. It's done. Whereas I think on your own, you're a bit more conscious of it. But even there, I've sort of got back into like having a go at podcasts and things like that. Something that slipped out of, or, throw tunes on or whatever. And before I know it, I've done it. But yeah, I'm definitely starting to run out of 4 to 5 mile walks in the Crosby area. I think I've been in every direction I can possibly go. Yeah. But even that's been good. I've done fields, I've done the beach, I've done just walking, on the pavement, whatever it be. Seen a fella the other day and I thought, wow, fair fucks, mate. So he was older than me, and he was out on a walk just in the street. But he's not just having a walk; he was pulling a tire.
A tire?
Yeah.
Just like a spare,
big massive tire,
like a truck
on
tire.
A rope, as on his walk. So he's obviously like, Crosby's quite flat,
of course.
So of course, like if you're trying to train to go up things or whatever, that Crosby ain't cutting it.
No.
And so I'm guessing that's why he had all this weight pulling behind. But I thought, fair fucks, like not only for the the fact that you're doing it and that must be hard, but also the no fucks giving aspect.
Oh yeah.
I always like that.
Everyone's like,
yeah, why is he pulling a tag? I don't care. It's for me. It's not for you. Sound. So yeah, if you do want to sponsor me, the link will be in the show and all that kind of stuff. It's all over my Twitter. It's all over my Instagram. And if you just type in like Just Giving, Gareth Roberts, campaign against living miserably, all of them kinds of things, 5k a day, you'll find it. And if you can't find it, tell me and I'll send you it. But yeah, over $2,000 so far. Pretty sure I'm still beating Toby. Let's keep going.
We'll have to get him in. We'll have to get Toby in to come in.
Yeah, let's keep going though. It's only October the 13th. I've got to keep doing them till obviously the last day of October. So still plenty of time to throw in if and when you can, and anything helps. So yeah, nice one.
We're still looking for ideas for what outfit we're going to make him wear for Halloween as the final countdown, and try and get a big push, a final big donate for him wearing some sponsored outfit. And I'm just going to say on your behalf, I am vetoing a Manchester United kit. I don't want to do it to him. We can come up with something better than that, more imaginative than that. So yeah, get your comments in either in the live chat or to our social page, what you want to see him wear on Halloween, and we'll get them like, yeah, look, you've committed to this now, but it's the way of getting that one final push of donations. So yeah, come up with something great and we'll make him wear it. But yeah, fair play to you, mate. You've been doing really, really well, and I'm
Cheers,
very proud. So yeah, this has been our live show today. We've got something very special coming up very soon when we go over to Patreon. I'm kicking him out of that chair and I'm bringing in a very good friend of mine, someone who is going to be working with us at the Late Challenge, our live show next month. Is the owner and proprietor of the Handyman Pub down on Smithdown Road, my good friend, Mr. Kev MacArthur. And I will be talking to him about running pubs, about life in Liverpool, about what it was like to live with me 20 years ago, and some of the stories of what we got up to. So yeah, there's a reason why we're doing this behind the paywall and not on live, because I would quite like to keep all my jobs. So if you want to come and hear all of the gossip and all of the great stuff there, come over to Patreon. Just £4 a month is all it will set you back to come over and enjoy our show. You get to hear all of the other Patreon shows we've ever done. If you have enjoyed some of the snippets of those shows we've been putting up on YouTube, there's even more reason for you to come over and join us over there. But yeah, anything else you would like to add before we disappear?
No further admin from me. All good. Let's beat the Manx, eh?
Absolutely. Let's end there. Thanks for coming.